Hello, YouTube. I got a nose itch immediately upon the record starting. Great. So I'm suffering. And we are your Common Sense editorial team. I'm Tanner, that's Chrissy. And we are here as we are every Tuesday. Roll the banner. Well, that's becoming less and less true as we go, but theoretically, we're here every Tuesday to give you a new ed tech review. If we're not, there's a playlist with a million of these things that you can enjoy. Chrissy, you've brought the tool for us today, so what are we discussing?
I did indeed, and it is called VOXPOP, which is, pretty snappy name. Also doesn't belie any of the, what the content is. So let me tell you all about it. VOXPOP is a free, again, I'll say entirely free resource that is all about historical role plays. Now, as a student, I loved me a role play. I loved it. When the history teacher would say you're choosing your parts for the Continental Congress, I don't even remember what they were, but I was like, "Oh, yes, this is gonna be the best. I don't have to just sit here and listen to this. I can get involved and pretend, and it's gonna come alive, and it's gonna be great." That said, the teachers they did not have the time and resources to set those up consistently. So it was a rare opportunity. VoxPop solves that problem for you. You can see that we gave it 4 stars. Middle school to high school is probably the target time. And let's jump over to the site. Basically, what this resource does is take all the pain of the setup around these role plays out of the equation. So they have done all of the work for you in terms of facilitating it, giving you what you need to just jump into certain historical topics. So, first, let me just sort of let you get a sense of how well and sort of turnkey this is set up. So, they give you a few videos to walk you through the process and show you exactly how it works. You do not have to be super tech savvy to make this work. It's mostly video based in terms of the content that kids are using. Um, and they give you some really clear instructions. So let me jump over to the how it works page. They walk you through right here, basic setup. All you need is the monitor. It just like Kahoot, there's a code that kids jump in. It divides them up into groups, so you don't have to worry about any of that. Of course, caveat, sometimes it's advantageous to be able to set up the groups for lots of reasons. So though it takes that onus off of you, you may, that may also be a drawback. Um, so you display it. You can see that you can run it in a 60-minute session or split it into 2 40-minute sessions. So they're trying to really be mindful of how this could work in your classroom, and they give you an easy video-based walkthrough to set it up. So let's just talk about what the role plays actually are, because at this point they are rather limited. There's not like a huge long list, but you can see Shay's Rebellion, Nullification, Door Rebellion, Pullman, New Deal, AIDS epidemic. And then if there are topics that you'd be interested in after you try out 1 or 2 of these and you're like, it'd be really cool if they had one of these, you can suggest to their team, and they will set it up. So let's jump into one just to give you a sense of what you'd be getting into. So there's a little bit of context, and what students will see is a pretty highly produced video that gives some context to the history. What I loved about the videos is that they're really trying to look at an issue from various perspectives, and they ground it in some real human interest factors. And so it provides context for history that not only brings it alive, but also really humanizes it in terms of, what some basic concerns of people are and were. And you see the outline, how many students, running time, facilitation guide. Here's the background video that gives some introduction, the different roles that students will be taking on. And again, they'll be divided up into these different roles. And then the different issues that the stakeholders will be debating. And by the end, they are voting on this issue to try to figure out what their particular group is most concerned about. They talk about it, and then they vote on the issue. And then there's this epilogue video that tells students what actually happened historically, what the outcome really was. And here are some discussion questions as well at the end. One thing that I think is lacking that could be would add some interest and even more context, since it is all video based, if there were some primary source documents, if there were some other links that students could use for research and get even more information, even more context, I think that would really add some depth to the experience. So I think teachers at this point will have to provide that. And maybe the intro video can be sort of a summary of what you've already explored in class, or a place to start, and then you can explore further. But all in all, I think it is really, they make it so easy to facilitate and to make history come alive in this pretty unique tech-based way. So that is VOXPOP.
Yeah, it strikes me that they're really focusing on debate as the key component of the role play. Like, all of them are about, you have an interest, and you are going to debate that interest among other people, and you kind of then vote on a solution, which is an interesting approach to structuring a role play, where it's all focused around like knowing how your character would act within a certain situation given their background. The 60 and 90 minute time limits strike me as ambitious, maybe.
Because so much of the facilitation is done for you, I think it's possible. But that said, if you really get into a meaty discussion, you may not want to cut it off also.
Yeah, I could see clever teachers modifying this a bit. Like you said, maybe having a intro session where students learn about what role they'll be taking on, maybe study some things, get some prep in, start thinking like their character or group. And then you enter the next session. That's the full 60-minute or 90-minute kind of debate. I could see some modifications that would be really helpful. Just as someone who has done a lot of these in classrooms before, that in my experience, like, the role plays take twice as long as as what you'd think they would take, because students get really, really into that. But that's VOXPOP. You can check it out at voxpop.io. You can see that review and others at commonssense.org/education. And of course, subscribe to this video, return to our channel, and watch this, a lot of other videos like this every Tuesday.